Hello and welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, pop down on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch our favorite cartoons, both old
and new.
I'm your raspy peg-legged bat who can't fly, Joseph.
And I'm a bat dressed as a baby. My name's Chris.
I had a feeling we'd both go with Fidget.
Yeah, I thought we'd. I figured we'd both go for the bat.
I mean, it fits the season well.
It does.
But today we watched The Great Mouse Detective.
By George. I don't know if anyone actually says by George in it. They do say elementary a lot.
I don't think they do, but yeah, elementary. But they use it in the right way. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Unlike what was it, the detective, the Sherlock Holmes cartoon we watched? It was like he was just saying it just to say it.
Yeah, he was always saying it's elementary.
Yeah,
my dear Watson. But it could be like, yeah, you're right. Somebody just says it in the complete wrong way. Like they find a body and he's like, it's elementary, my dear Watson. And it's like, no, that's a dead body.
I'm not sure you know what that means.
That's a dead body, sir. Yeah,
elementary.
It's totally messed up. Yeah.
So the movie Great Mouse Detective aired in 1986. Oh, wait, who was this suggested by?
This was suggested to us by Keith O via YouTube. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith. Yes. So the movie Great Mouse Detective aired in 1986, based on Basil of Baker Street, a book series by Eve Titus and Paul Galden, directed by John Musker, Ron Clements, Dave Mitchener,
just Dave,
and Bernie Mattinson. Produced by Walt Disney Pictures, Walt Disney Feature Animation, and Silver Screen Partners 2. For a short synopsis, Basil, the rodent Sherlock Holmes, investigates the kidnapping of a toy maker and uncovers its link to his archenemy, Professor Ratigan.
Aha. I mean, true. Yeah, it's all, yeah.
That's factual.
That's exactly on point.
I guess I should also say that Basil of Baker Street, the books, are obviously inspired by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's books, Sherlock Holmes, or his, I guess, franchise.
Yeah, and something that I found looking up the cast, and I didn't include this person in the cast, but I wanted to mention this. Maybe you had this in your marshmallows, and if you did, I'm stealing it from you right now. Just mine.
Give me back my marshmallows.
I'm pocketing it. Okay. So you said that it was based on the book series Basil of Baker Street.
Yes.
But in this movie also exists the characters of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and Sherlock Holmes in this makes a very brief appearance, voiced by Basil Rathorn.
Yeah.
Which I think is so great. Like, I've never heard the name Basil in my entire life.
And now you're surrounded by it.
And then in this movie, there's like 3 different Basils referenced all in one thing.
It's like the Bort of England, I guess.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
My name is also Basil.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess leading into the few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Great Mouse Detective cereal.
Wait, whoa.
What?
Whoa, I gotta say the rest of the
Oh, you're not
cast.
done. Thought you were done since you were already stealing marshmallows.
I didn't even say any other people in the cast.
I know. Go on.
Sure. Cue me up for the cast.
All right. So who are some of the actors who played in this film, aside from the one you just mentioned in your stolen marshmallow?
It was scrumptious, just so you know. That marshmallow I took from you, it's really good.
I'll bet.
The voice of Olivia was provided by Susan Polchek. The voice of Dawson was Val Betton, who also played the Sultan in various Aladdin sequels and spinoffs. So he was not the Sultan in the original Aladdin film, but he was in all the sequels and lots of spinoff TV shows and other things that Disney did using that character.
Yeah, I could totally hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense, huh? Basil was voiced by Barry Ingham. Ratigan, voiced by the late, great Vincent Price, who was a horror legend through the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. This he's all over the place, man. He did so many good things.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't heard his name, I don't know where you've been. You've heard us talk about him a lot, especially when we talked about like 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
He was in that for sure. Voice of Fidget was provided by Candy Candido, which is a really fun name to say. Candy Candido. Anyway, Mr. Flaversham was voiced by Alan Young, who we mentioned once before on here, and I totally forgot about all the crazy voices he's had. he played live action. He played Wilbur from Mr. Ed. Do you remember that old show with the horse that would talk?
I do, yeah.
They would basically just give the horse a treat.
Yeah.
He'd be like, Wilbur. So he was said Wilbur that this horse was always talking to.
Okay.
He was Keop from Battle of the Planets. So the one making all the goofy noises.
Oh, no.
The one that you hated.
Yeah.
I think everyone hates. And he was the original Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales and lots of other stuff.
I saw that and I was very happy to see that. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I could hear it in his voice.
No. Mrs. Judson was voiced by Diana Chesney. The Queen, the Mouse Queen, voiced by Eve Brenner. And Toby, the dog, take a wild guess who voices Toby.
If it's not Frank Welker, I'm going to be very surprised.
You are quite right. It is Frank Welker, the voice of everybody, including ourselves.
Good old Frank.
Yeah, and that's the main cast right there.
That's awesome. And for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Great Mouse Detective cereal. So as you were saying, Basil of Baker Street, well, this is kind of chaining off of that. Basil of Baker Street is named after Basil Rathbone, who played Sherlock Holmes in 14 films. And by strange coincidence, Basil was also a name used by a disguised Holmes in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Adventure of Black Peter. So not only was the voice of Sherlock Holmes Basil Rathbone, but there was a Basil in the book series as well. And then we've got Basil here. And then we've got a Basil playing Basil in here, or not playing Basil, but playing Sherlock Holmes in this. So it's just a big Basil multiverse.
My head is spinning.
Yeah.
My head's spinning. I also think I said the wrong name. I think I said Rathorn earlier, but it's supposed to be Rathbone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But anyway, it's because I said it off the top of my head and I didn't have it written down. That's why I need to take notes. I should have taken a note.
Rathbone is just such a cool name. It sounds like some kind of
Rathbone
awesome
is a cool name.
Either like an awesome like monster that's a skeleton or something. Rathbone belongs in Skeleton Warriors.
Yeah, like you've incurred the wrath of Rathbone.
That would be his catchphrase.
Yeah. Crap, I just realized where Rathorn came from. Why my mind went there. Oh
Why?
My God, I'm such a nerd.
What?
Rathorn was the name of one of the NPCs from our Party in Peril, our D&D podcast.
Oh, so you're just pulling from your own,
my
your
own
fiction.
weird memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
So during the recording of Vincent Price's lines, animators sketched his exaggerated Shakespearean gestures and worked them into the animated poses for Ratigan. So Ratigan is not only voiced by him, but also a lot of his mannerisms are Vincent Price's expressive theatrical mannerisms.
I love that. I mean, it works too because, man, he is so animated. Like he, I don't know, Ratigan is like one of the best parts of this whole film.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Vincent Price's like favorite animated part he's ever played, and he realized a lifelong dream with this film because he had always wanted to be the voice of a character in a Disney film. So he was giving it his all, and you can see that.
Yeah, it definitely felt that way. Like he was so good,
so expressive.
Yeah.
The "Let Me Be Good to You" segment, which was the dancing mouse in the cabaret. And the bar, was almost cut because the lyrics in some animation was considered too risque for a Disney animated family film. The animators avoided the PG rating and got the scene kept in by appealing to the censors on the grounds that the segment was a cabaret song and harmless in lyrics because the character singing it was an animated mouse, not a human, and thus not questionable. That was their argument. This was pre-furries, so...
I know. It's funny, though, because I was just thinking, like, when Rochelle and I watched it together and that scene happened, and, like, when she does take off the clothes and she's in the skimpier outfit.
Yeah.
And Ro is like, whoa, I forgot about that part. And I was like, and people wonder why, like, all these furries came about. It's because of things like this we were exposed to.
Yeah, this is what we grew up with. You didn't want us to be attracted to animals. You shouldn't have drawn them like that.
Yep.
The clock tower scene is the first major use of computer animation in the clock's gears in a feature-length animated film. The same scene was also the first time traditionally animated characters were put inside a computer-generated background.
That's really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because that scene it very much stood out. And I was kind of wondering if that's what happened. I didn't realize it was the first one. That's cool.
Yeah, for a feature-length animated film, at least. So I guess it had been used previously, but on smaller projects, it sounds like. This one's pretty good. Following the box office underperformance of the 1985 Paramount Amblin film Young Sherlock Holmes, Eisner decided to rename Basil of Baker Street into The Great Mouse Detective, feeling the name Basil was too English. The retitling of the film proved to be unpopular with the filmmakers, so much that animator Ed Gombert wrote a satirical interoffice memo allegedly by studio executive Peter Schneider, which gave preceding Disney films generic titles like Seven Little Men Help a Girl, The Wonderful Elephant Who Could Really Fly, The Little Deer Who Grew Up, The Girl with the See-Through Shoes, Two Dogs Fall in Love, Puppies Taken Away, and A Boy, a Bear, and a Big Black Cat.
Oh my God.
These generic titles would later become a category on Jeopardy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
So they were resistant to this name change, but I think it was probably for the better. It definitely stands out more than Basil of Baker Street. Or I guess it gives you an idea of what you're coming in to see. Basil of Baker Street, I wouldn't have known what to expect at all.
No, I mean, I think the only people that would have any idea would be people that were either familiar with the books or would have recognized Baker Street as, the street that Sherlock Holmes is from.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Great Mouse Detective is for dummies like me. I know what a detective is. I know what a mouse is. So I can put two and two together here.
Yeah. The only word you don't know is great.
No, great. I was unsure of, but the other two helped me out.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they stuck with that one. So let's go ahead and start talking about Basil of Baker Street, or the Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah. The Great Basil of
Detective.
Street Mouse Detective.
All those words.
I was trying to put it together. It doesn't work.
So this came out in 1986, but it takes place in London, 1897. We open at Flaversham's Toys, where it's Olivia's birthday. She's one of the primary characters, a daughter of the owner of this toy shop. And he gives her this ballerina toy, but immediately Fidget, who is our bat henchman character, this peg-legged bat who can't fly, he's got a really cool voice too. It's like, I don't even know how to, really raspy, I guess.
It's just real raspy like this, kind of.
Yeah, it's like real low and raspy and then sped up. It sounds strange, but it fits his character well. And he's kind of a creepy little bat dude. So he comes in, basically beats up the toy store owner, and then just snatches him, takes him away, leaves Olivia there alone.
Yeah. And she doesn't know what's going on. The only thing that she knows is to go find Basil of Baker Street and that he should be able to help. So from there, then we instead switch over to another scene, which is the arrival of Dr. David Q. Dawson, who is arriving on the bottom of a horse carriage. He is just returned from service in Afghanistan. I mean, this literally is following the whole story of Dr. Watson from Sherlock Holmes. He served in the 66th Regiment and, he's a doctor. So he shows up. He doesn't have a place to live just yet. He's just arrived. He's kind of walking around town and then he hears crying. He goes and sees Olivia. He finds her crying in a shoe and he's just kind of oh, what's wrong? Trying to console her and stuff. And she kind of mentions what's happening and he's just kind of trying to make her feel better and then decides, hey, we'll go find this Basil of Baker Street together because I don't know who he is, but I do know where Baker Street is. So then they kind of go off together. They find the address where they meet Mrs. Judson, who is kind of like the landlady, and lets them in because Basil is not home at the moment. But she's like, oh, you can come in, make yourself at home. So they get in there and they're kind of waiting for Basil to come in, which when he does, he's wearing a costume where he looks like somebody else and he scares the crap out of everybody.
He just rushes in disguise.
Yeah, and Basil's just so over the top where Olivia is, a young, well, I was going to say young girl, young mouse, young girl mouse who's super cute, a little naive about things, but very hopeful. And Dawson is a little bit bumbling in some ways, a little bit cowardly, but very, very, he's heart on the sleeve, wants to help, wants to do anything he can to help this little girl. Basil is just a ADHD like thing of energy and maybe a little bit of craziness in there. Like he's runs in making no sense.
Very eccentric, but very intelligent too. It's almost like he just can't focus on just a single thing. Like you said, ADHD tendencies, and he's just all over the place. Almost comes off as cold because he's not listening to anybody. He's thinking about like, okay, I need to make this gun. Like he has an idea and he has to do it before he does anything else.
It's some classic Sherlock kind of stuff, like especially like the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock from the BBC show.
See, I've never watched that, but I assume like any iteration would have those kind of tendencies.
I was going to say not every iteration does, but I feel like the best ones do. So like Cumberbatch's Sherlock is probably the most reminiscent of Basil, to be honest. Like kind of cold. I'd say Cumberbatch's is way more colder and way more problematic, but just super all over the place in his own world, more interested in finding clues and doing things like that, to the point that it's almost like for him, it's almost like an illness to a point sometimes, because he can't like understand people. Basil's a little bit like that. Like his focus is on the mystery and everything, and everybody else is kind of pushed to the side, which is why he's ignoring Olivia when she's trying to appeal, and Dawson's trying to get his attention, explain. Like he doesn't even really question why they're there in his like living room. He's just kind of shoving them to the side and like trying to, like test these theories. Like he shoots a gun at these pillows that he hands to Dawson. Like doesn't even question why Dawson's there. He's just hands him these pillows and pulls out a pistol, and Dawson's like, oh God, and like throws him on the ground, and then he shoots him, and then he's like comparing these two bullets together to try to, match the striations on them, but they don't match. And
that's where he just goes, like he hits his wall here, because he had an idea. He thought it was going to lead him to something. And so he just cries. I was just like, no, like another dead end. And then he just starts playing like a violin, like the literal sad violin, because he's depressed now. Olivia starts telling her story, or he allows her to. And that's when she mentions that her father got taken by this bat thing. And that's where he sparks, like he like lights up again, because he's like, oh, I know this is Fidget, the employee of Professor Ratigan. And Ratigan is his like obsession, and what he has been like the crime he's been trying to solve or find out where he is, and finally, put him behind bars, because he has such a one-track mind. Like now that Ratigan's involved in this, it has sparked his interest.
Right. Ratigan in this film is the
Professor Moriarty.
It's basically Moriarty. Yeah, exactly. But I would say like Ratigan in this just seems so much more, feels more sinister than most of the Moriartys I've seen.
More outright sinister, yeah. It's an interesting character too, because it's like he's a giant sewer rat trying to act as if he's a mouse, because it seems like there's like a class system and sewer rats are like looked down upon. And so he doesn't want to be seen as that. He views himself and wants to be seen as a mouse instead. I guess more of a royal kind of species in this world. And so it's just interesting seeing him try to balance that as this obvious giant rat.
Oh, man. And we see it, too, like in the case where when it does kind of switch over to that scene where we're introduced to Ratigan, and he is like hanging out with all of his goons in his lair, which is really lavish. There's lots of like, he's got a big old thing of champagne flowing, and all of his little mouse dudes are getting drunk, and one lizard, for whatever reason, it's like they're all mice, but then one lizard. This one mouse is getting like super drunk. They're singing songs. He sings something about like how he drowned widows and orphans.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Like, there's songs like, oh, Ratigan, and then saying how he's like what he's trying to do, like, or what's worse than the widows and orphans you've drowned. And it's like, geez, this guy is horrible.
That's horrifying.
The world's greatest criminal mind is essentially the root of that song, or that's the main point of it. And it's the only real song we get. It's not a musical movie at all.
Well, it's that, and then the one at the bar.
And I guess also the one where he's playing the record as he leaves them to die in that trap. But it's like, it's not heavily like musical. So it's weird that this one's even here. Like they have this song going on, and that's where the really drunk mouse cuts in, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, instead of world's greatest criminal mind, he's like, to Ratigan, the world's greatest rat.
The greatest rat.
Yeah. And that's when like everybody, it's basically like the record scratches. Like everybody freezes, and he's like, what did you say? And that's where you're like, oh, okay. So he does not want to be called a rat.
No. And he has this like little bell that he rings, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be. It ends up, he summons a cat, which to them is gigantic, of course, because they're mice. This cat's named, I think it's Felicia. Okay. And like he feeds the drunk mouse to the cat. Like,
yeah,
that dude's just dead.
Yeah. He had to pay for his crimes.
But we learned that his plan is that because he did, capture Flaversham, we see a scene where he's like got Flaversham creating like a little robot kind of thing that looks real jittery. It's like a prototype or something. And his plan is he's going to take out the queen, like replace the queen with like a robot queen so that he has control over all of Mousedom. And so that's why he captured Flaversham, because he can create these very
mechanized.
Yeah, well, almost like I don't want to say quite lifelike, but to an extent, lifelike enough to fool people.
Yeah.
Animatronics. So
right.
that was the whole reason. And I thought that was an interesting plan.
Yeah, like you don't really get the reveal of all of that until, I guess it's revealed slowly throughout the movie. You kind of like have a general idea, but then it like starts to reveal more as you go on. But we're cutting back over to Basil and the others now, where they have to go find Toby. And we don't know who Toby is yet, but Basil's insistent that in order to find Fidget, we have to find Toby first. And so they go up to what we see is Sherlock Holmes and I guess like his house or his apartment or whatever up there. That's where Toby is also. Toby is Holmes' bloodhound. And so they are getting Basil's getting the assistance of Toby to sniff out Fidget by, just, I don't remember what he had him sniff or whatever, but the general idea is
a hat.
Oh, that's right.
Because Fidget came back so Flaversham started to refuse to continue work. So then Ratigan was like, fine, we're going to kidnap your daughter. And he sent Fidget back out. So Fidget shows up at Basil's and he's outside. Olivia screams and Fidget freaks out, runs for it, but drops his hat. So that's why they grab the hat, they go to Toby and have Toby sniff the hat. And so he can get a scent for Fidget so they can track him down. But I do love the idea that Toby is obviously Sherlock Holmes's bloodhound, but being used by Basil.
Yeah.
Which is the Sherlock Holmes of mice. And I think that's great.
Right. It is interesting seeing this mouse world, everything going on while the human world is still happening above them. And they're kind of interacting and almost reenacting things that humans are doing.
Yeah, and they live in the same place, which I think is really funny because when we first see, Dawson and Olivia go and find Basil, we see this big apartment building with a guy playing violin. And I'm like, oh, that's just like Sherlock Holmes. And then they go to this tiny little door, mouse hole size door right under in that same apartment. So it's like Basil and Sherlock Holmes live in the same building, which is great. I think that's super funny. And later on, when we see the Mouse Queen, it's the same thing. It's a little mouse hole palace, but in Buckingham Palace. And
right.
I think that's great.
It reminds me a little bit of the Ninja Turtle movie, at least the first one, where it's Splinter was an actual mouse watching his master train, and that's how he learned his moves. It's similar in that way. I don't know that they are directly inspired by the people who live above them, but it's just a fun coincidence in these cases.
Yeah, it's almost like their worlds are just intertwined regardless. And I think that's just fun. I love that idea. But yeah, so they get Toby, who's this big bloodhound. And it's kind of funny because Basil just brags about like how he's been, teaching Toby and training him and everything like that. But like Toby immediately doesn't like Dawson, which is kind of funny, but is so over the moon for Olivia that he starts kind of ignoring what Basil wants and like will only do things for Olivia, which is kind of great. Like he won't sit for Basil, but if Olivia says it, he'll do it. And I think it's cute.
And Basil didn't want Olivia to come in the first place because it's a dangerous mission and she's just a little girl, but she insists upon coming. And they are, Toby is also seconds as a vehicle since he's just this dog. He's so very large compared to them. So they're all riding on his back. They track Fidget to this toy store, which is an awesome scene. Like this whole thing plays out in such a cool way where they track him there and then they go inside of it. But it's all the interaction. Like you think of a toy store, but think of it like when you're on a very small scale and all the cool things there would be around you. There's just a lot to interact with. And they have a really great like chase scene in there.
There is a lot of like, they did a good job of making some of the toys look really sinister and spooky too, just from being...
Oh yeah, like those laughing clown ones. Like
the laughing clowns. There was that doll when they first got in there.
Oh yeah.
Just looked really scary. But again, it's because you're seeing it from a mouse's perspective and these things are like looming over you.
Right. And those like fantastically painted backgrounds, like they really add to it.
They're gorgeous. But yeah, like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in here. The big beats of it, though, are like Fidget's in there and he has been stripping these toy soldiers of their uniforms. They're like soldiers dressed like, like the Queen's Guard from like Buckingham Palace and stuff with the big black tall hats and the red uniforms. So he's been stripping all of those and he had been removing all these gears and stuff, other toys, and they find his footprints.
Ratigan had given him a list, and he has to find all these parts on it.
And the girl, he's got to get Olivia too.
Right. I mean, predictably, Flaversham, he doesn't want to do these. He doesn't want to work with Ratigan. So at this point, he's like, all right, well then, blackmail. So he is trying to find her so that he can give him the incentive to do it by threatening Olivia.
Yeah, so while Fidget's in here, he gets all the stuff he needs. Didn't expect Basil and them to show up, but since they did, he ends up hiding in this little like baby doll crib thing dressed as a baby. And so like while they're all kind of walking around, and Olivia, she's a little kid, she's gonna mess with stuff. She does it a few times, like she touches something, it makes noise, plays music, whatever. And then while some of the toys start going off, because like basically Fidget ended up setting traps using some of the toys, and like Dawson and Basil kind of get attacked by these toys, basically because of how he set them up. Olivia stumbles upon the crib and he like cries like a little baby. And when she goes to look at it, it's Fidget. He jumps up, he snatches her and makes off with her. So he's got everything he needs and he's kidnapped Olivia as well. But he dropped his list.
Yeah, he dropped his list. Toby was blocking off the exit. So he leaps through this, like out of this, like off this stack of blocks through this ceiling, like this escape place in the ceiling. I guess this like sunlight thing.
A sunlight thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what they're called. What are they called?
They talk like a sunroof or
sunroof. I guess that's what it's called. Yeah. And so he just jumps out of the top of that and the blocks fall over. So Basil is unable to chase after him in that same way. So at this point, he's got Olivia. They're really at his mercy. And so now the mission has turned into, okay, now we need to really find him to save both Flaversham and Olivia.
Yeah, and I like this next part because they use a lot of, and this is a very Sherlock thing too, is they use science and a lot of deductive reasoning here for their next steps to figure out where to go next. they take a look at the list that Fidget dropped. They take it back to Basil's place, and he's using different chemicals, things like that, looking at like under a microscope at the ink and all that kind of stuff, and sees that it's like there's like coal dust. So that tells them like one thing. He uses I think he finds out it was the type used in, was it sewer lamps or something?
Yeah.
And then he mixes it with something like some chemicals, and then they find sodium chloride in it, which is, salt, which tells them that it's got to be near, the water. So they're like, okay, so now we just need to find, because this guy operates out of like pubs and stuff like that, we have to find a seedy pub where the sewer connects to like a body of water. So that tells them exactly where to start looking.
And that's where we get a really fun part, a really fun portion of the movie where they've dressed up to enter this seedy pub, and Dawson's got this eye patch, this beanie, and like this midriff shirt on. Basil is dressed as this like mustachioed ship captain or something, like a French ship captain. And so they walk into this bar with this octopus juggling and stuff, and it looks like...
Oh, yeah, that octopus design, I didn't like that. That was weird.
You didn't like that? Why?
No, because
you didn't like that being his nose?
Yeah. So, okay, guys, when you think of like an octopus, you think of the big round part as the top of its head, right? But this one, it's almost like the head part, they had him like bending down. So that was more like a nose. And so like the face would be like, I don't know, if you think about a typical octopus, the face would be upside down. So then the big bulbous part was the nose, and then the mouth and eyes are above that. And I did not like that.
I feel like I've seen that before in some things. Maybe Disney things, maybe not. I'm not sure.
I feel like they're doing it wrong.
I mean, they definitely have it backwards, but also he's not in the water and he's juggling. So it's like suspension of disbelief. I accept it. It's fine.
No, it's terrible. Shame on them.
So this octopus is juggling up on stage. It's your regular, seedy looking pub with everybody drinking, having a good time, just chatting. And then Basil comes in asking about Ratigan, and everybody kind of pauses and is like, they kind of do the whole like never heard of him thing. That's when the cute mouse girl comes out on stage and has that dance number. And we see the bartender, because the waitress had gone over and talked to the bartender about Basil and Dawson. And we see him like what looks like putting poison in their drinks. Basil like detects it right away. Like he just takes a little bit of it and is like, oh, we've been drugged. But Dawson's like downing the whole thing. So he just
chugs it.
Yeah, he chugs it. He goes completely crazy and starts just dancing on stage with the girls. Even before that, like he had accidentally run into somebody and had, been very apologetic and had been like the perfect gentleman about it. But it's like in this establishment you're in, you just don't fit in, especially not with the clothes you're wearing. So he just is completely out of place. And it's funny seeing him trying to fit in, but not fitting in at all.
And Basil also sees Fidget in there too. Like Fidget's at the bar getting a drink, but Basil can't act right away because of Dawson being so drunk and making a fool of himself. And like, as he's trying to get, Dawson down, Dawson he fell off the stage, and then
somebody tries to punch him. And
he fell on the piano, and then the piano player tried to hit him, but Dawson fell again, and that guy hit someone else. Then that dude punched another guy, and just starts this giant bar brawl.
Yeah.
And in that time, Fidget slips away, so Basil grabs Dawson and starts following him. They find this like kind of underground area that goes into the sewers, and they're like following Fidget through these pipes, and they end up in Ratigan's lair, and then they see this green bottle. And as us as the viewers, Olivia has been trapped in this bottle with like a cork on it. So I thought, oh, okay, there's Olivia right there. But no, I guess Fidget snuck in there at some point and dressed as Olivia. So like when they get up to the bottle, Fidget turns around, and like they're all of a sudden surrounded by all of Ratigan's men and Ratigan. And they're all just like laughing at Basil because it was a trap, and they lured him there specifically so they could trap him. And they're basically like, I already won. Like, you lost, you idiot. Like, you're not a good detective. Like, we led you here on purpose just so we could trap you. Like, way to go, you buffoon.
This is where Basil's mood completely changes because he's been outsmarted and he feels so stupid for falling into this trap. And he's basically saying, like, there's no way Ratigan would have fallen into a trap like this. It was so simple. And he didn't outthink this. He didn't think ahead. He didn't outthink the situation. So he feels very defeated. They're put in this like giant. Well, it's not even a giant mouse trap. It's a regular sized mouse trap, but it looks huge to them. And this entire thing is set up basically like you would think like a cartoonish supervillain would or whatever, where it's like they're in this trap that has to be set off by this other thing. Like, basically a whole like series of events has to happen where like this ball falls on this thing and then this axe comes down and chops them. Like, there's so many ways they're going to be killed by this device. Unfortunately, because like Basil was 15 minutes later than Ratigan thought he would be, he's off schedule. So Ratigan can't stay and watch this, of course. Because he's got this whole plan to take over Mousedom. So he has to go, leaves them to this trap, and Basil is just sitting there basically accepting it. And Dawson even says, like, you know, if you're going to give up already, like, just go ahead and set off the trap or something. And that's what spurs this idea. It's like, oh, like, set off the trap. Okay, we're going to let it set off, but we have to time it just right. And so they go through this whole like series of events where they have to trigger the mousetrap right as this like giant ball is going to run down or roll down over them. And they do it in such a way where the trap gets caught on top of the ball and triggers this whole series of events that not only frees them, but also frees Olivia from the bottle that she was trapped in.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It was super cool. That was such a good scene. Like, the way all of that came out. I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and watching like Basil do like all the calculations in his head as like they're running out of time because the ball's like rolling down towards them, which is gonna trigger the trap. And he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna carry the two, blah, blah, blah. And like Dawson's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're about to die.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, Basil's got his mojo back basically, and they're like, all right, we got to go save the queen. Like, God save the queen. They get Toby and they head off towards, you know, the palace, where we see the plan start to pull off, where Ratigan's men dressed up as guards knock out the other guards and replace them. They bring in this big quote unquote present for the queen, and she's like, oh, I love presents.
Yeah.
And she opens it, and there's like this little poem thing about her reign coming to an end, and inside is like, you know, this animatronic that looks just like her, and it's being controlled by Flaversham and Ratigan. So they take her away because they're going to feed her to Felicia the cat. And all these people are there at the court because it's supposed to be like, I don't remember, is it her birthday or is it like a celebration of when she was coronated? One of those things.
I don't remember. Yeah.
They bring out, all these people are gathered for this speech that the queen's supposed to give, but this animatronic queen comes out there. They are none the wiser. And Ratigan has a script that he has Flaversham reading, but it's coming out of this animatronic as the queen's voice. And it's basically saying, I'd like to introduce you to my new consort, you know, and introduces Ratigan. And like the whole crowd is like taken aback. Like they're astonished and like, you know, kind of sickened by it because they must all know who this guy is. Like they're like, oh no, this is terrible. And basically she's just like, you know, he has all the power that I have basically. And he rolls out this huge long scroll of all of these things that he's going to change.
One of his first things is the tax levied against the elderly, the infirmed, and especially children. Yeah.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, so basically Ratigan just has all this power now. But Basil and company show up. I like right before the queen gets eaten, Toby goes after the cat, Felicia, which I thought that was fun, that chase, because Toby chases Felicia over a wall and Felicia kind of like, you know, like taunts him and then goes over this wall, but then ends up getting attacked by a bunch of other dogs on the other side.
She jumps into the royal guard dog's pen or something.
Yeah, that's great. So bye, Felicia.
That's where that originated.
Yeah. And then when people are like kind of questioning Ratigan and everything, you hear the animatronic queen like, no, he's and saying some nice things. And then she's like, he's a sewer rat or something. And he's like, wait, what? And then starts saying like really mean things about him. And he's like, what is going on? And he thinks Flavishin's turned on him. Then he pulls back the curtain and he sees that Basil and Dawson and Olivia are there, and they have tied up his henchman and rescued Flavisham. And the chase is afoot, as they would say.
Yeah, so the chase begins where Ratigan has taken Olivia still, and with Fidget goes on their blimp, their Zeppelin thing, and starts like flying off. And since Basil's always thinking he's great with problem solving on the spot, so he like, okay, like take these balloons and this blanket or something. I can't remember what he was using, but he's like, okay, we're gonna use these balloons. So he uses it to start floating up there too to chase them, and is slowly releasing helium out of the balloons to get propulsion as he's chasing them. So this is a really interesting chase scene too. They're not going fast enough, so Fidget like suggests like lightening the load by like dropping Olivia off the side, and he's Ratigan's like, oh, it's a good idea, and then just drops him off the side.
Yeah. Fidget can't fly, so he falls into the ocean or river or whatever. So goodbye to Fidget.
Yeah, that's the last time we see Fidget.
There's a lot of casualties in this movie, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of off-scene casualties. You've got the mouse getting eaten by Felicia. You got Felicia getting eaten by those dogs. You've got Fidget falling into the river or ocean or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you've got this upcoming one. So they eventually run into Big Ben. They crash into it. And so, because they're so small in scale, the battleground is now all the gears within the top of Big Ben. And that's a really interesting scene.
Yeah, this whole scene is cool because, man, we really get to see like how vicious Ratigan is.
Oh, when his stuff starts getting torn off, he looks like,
man, yeah,
he's gone mad.
Yeah, him getting backed into a corner is scary because like, dude he goes like feral, man. His eyes are like red, and he's just like, he's got his claws out, and he starts beating the crap out of Basil. Like, in all honesty, like Basil going toe to toe with Ratigan, like Basil didn't have a chance. Like he just got manhandled or mouse handled by Ratigan. Like Ratigan just had him dead to rights. Olivia got away because he bites Ratigan and then is able to jump to, so Flavishin and Dawson are still in the other balloon, and her dad reaches his arm out. She's able to get to him. They pull her up, but Basil cannot get to them. Ratigan just beats the snot out of Basil and has Basil dead to rights, and kind of about gives him like the finishing blow, but the clock chimes because like it's I don't know if it hit midnight or what, but it makes this bell ring, and it like shakes, and it makes Ratigan fall.
Well, so the setup for that was, after he has him dead to rights and he's declaring his victory, Basil still has the bell that used to summon Felicia, and
that's right.
He confuses him by ringing this bell. And I guess that just like triggers something in him. So he backs up for a second. And then that's when the, midnight chimes.
The clock goes.
And so that, because he's so thrown off by that, you don't really get any explanation of why he rang the bell. But that was my interpretation of it, was just to confuse him for just a moment. And
so he needed just another second until the clock would chime. And then, the minute hand or whatever would move. And then Ratigan would lose his footing.
Right. So he's thought ahead. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. He starts falling, but on his way down, he pulls Basil down with him, and Basil is grabbing onto like part of this gear and then just falls down. So they think like, because they fall into like, the London fog down there all the way from the top of Big Ben. So it's like if they hit the ground.
It's a street down there. So that's
it's
splattered
quite a
rat.
fall.
Yeah.
And so they assume, everyone's assuming that Basil has also died because of this big fall that he got dragged down into, until we see he's kind of using this little gear as like a whirligig type thing. where it's like the little pedals or the handles that you twist around, and then it's like got the little helicopter propeller on it. So he comes back up and he's safe.
That was part of Ratigan's original little getaway thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. It was like a little propeller on a almost like half bicycle. It's like a unicycle with a propeller, basically, because originally Fidget had been using that to try to get them.
He was making him fly it. Yeah,
to try to get them around faster. But yeah, that fell with them. And so he was able to use that as like a little helicopter and get himself back up to safety. But yeah, Ratigan's, he's dead. Yeah, that rat is super dead.
Rats can survive a lot, but that's a really high place to fall from. So the queen honors them as, like, I guess, greatest detectives and whatever. And this is where they're saying their goodbyes to Olivia, and Basil still cannot remember how to say their names. Like, as smart as he is, the entire movie, he's so impersonal. He's not a good people person. So he's still
like he'll call her Haberdasher, or Haverflam.
Flanger Hanger was the last thing he called her. Even as they are saying goodbye. But at this point, they're just like, whatever. Like, they just expect it of him.
What's funny, though, is he when he refers to her dad, he says it right. When they first find him, he says the name right.
Yeah, which is like the only time. And then every time before and after that, it's just some variation of Flaversham.
Yeah.
So Dawson starts to leave too. And you see Basil is starting to get really sad. Like, he enjoyed the camaraderie they had. And so this troubled woman comes in who's got some sort of issue. She's looking for a detective to help with something. And Basil introduces himself and then Dawson as his trusted associate with whom he does all his cases.
Right.
And Dawson accepts it and is like, yeah, you know what? Like, I will stay. And so it was nice to see him kind of open up to the idea of having a companion and not doing everything by himself.
Yeah, and the movie ends with kind of like a little like in narration by Dawson talking basically about like over the years they had lots of cases together, but he'll remember the first one, the most or with the most fondness or something, and then refers to Basil as the Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that's the name of the movie.
It all makes sense now.
It makes sense, yeah.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our kids to help Basil, Dawson, and Olivia find her father, and maybe see if they can take over Mousedom themselves. Then see what they thought of the Great Mouse Detective.
At first I thought, detective, this is gonna be way too much thinking. But it was really fun and super funny. Too bad Ratigan's mousetrap didn't work any better than the mousetrap game. I swear those things never actually work.
Who knew animals had so much going on right under our noses? You've got mouse detectives, juggling octopus, lizard henchmen, rats aspiring to rule, and dogs. Well, dogs are still just dogs, which kind of tracks. But yeah, this movie was great.
Yeah, Mousetrap, I don't think I ever got it to work. There's so many times I assembled it and just tried to test it to see if it would go. No, never did.
I think I only played Mousetrap by proxy. And by proxy, I mean, like, I watched the commercial a lot. So that's probably as close as I got to actually playing Mousetrap.
If you can get the little man to fall into the bucket or whatever, I mean, good on you. Rarely happened.
So he's supposed to like flip into the bucket, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to flip into the bucket. There's so many little things that happen. But on the off chance he actually lands in there for once and the little trap is supposed to come down at the end, half the time the trap would get stuck on the little track it's supposed to go down. That thing was garbage. That game sucks. I wonder if they've made any improvements to it, but I bet it still sucks. Let us know. Let us know if the Mousetrap game still sucks.
If you've got an updated 2022 version of Mousetrap, let us know. Have they fixed it?
Yeah, let us know. I'm gonna stick with my traditional mousetraps. So what are some of the things you liked about this film we watched?
So the animation was top notch. The action scenes were very exciting, and all the characters were really fantastic. As cool as the end scene in Big Ben was, I still think my favorite was a toy shop chase, because not only did it have a fun setting, but they really took advantage of all the things, all the surroundings they had in an interesting way. Like they were kind of utilizing everything. And like you were talking about, even like the backgrounds were very menacing just because of how large, I guess, how frightening these things look on such a large scale compared to the mice that we're following. Basil is a great example of an incredibly intelligent individual whose only handicap is his one-track mind. So it's a great balanced character where he's not perfect. I mean, he's smart enough to where, like, yeah, he seems like, oh, he has the answer to everything, but it's like, yeah, but his people skills are terrible in comparison. So it's like, there's the balance. And I think he was a really well-balanced character because of that. So much so, like I said, that he even comes off as cold at the start, more concerned about catching Ratigan than saving Olivia's father, or even listening to what she has to say or pronouncing her name right. So it was nice to see him softening up at the end with Dawson. And speaking of Dawson, like there were not a lot maybe, but there were a decent amount of comical moments in this movie. But Dawson's trying to blend in that seedy bar was probably my favorite part. As far as laughs go, it was just so good.
Yeah,
seeing him be so proper, wearing that, dressed like a ruffian or whatever.
Yeah, he looked like a pirate, and he's just being so pleasant to everybody.
Right. Pardon me, ma'am. And then when they're all clapping for like the octopus on stage and everyone else is booing, so they're sticking out. Yeah,
that was great.
Last but not least, Vincent Price absolutely killed it as Ratigan. He played him very theatrically, like I was talking about, which was kind of perfect for a nefarious sewer rat trying to pass himself off as like a distinguished mouse.
Oh man, yeah, Vincent Price, like I said earlier, I think was the best part of this movie. Man, he chewed up every scene he was in, which is so interesting to say because this was a voiceover performance and not somebody in an actual scene. But it just goes to show like how powerful a voiceover performance can be, because you could hear it. This man gave us all. Everything was just so well articulated, so well acted. You felt every emotion Ratigan felt, and just, gosh, he was so sinister and just lovingly so. Like, this is a character that loves to be a villain, and like it's just, he was just dripping charisma in this thing, and that makes me love even more that the animators were like, oh my god, we're gonna draw this character doing the same movements that Vincent Price does, because it was just like perfect that way. The guy nailed it. I don't think I've ever seen a I'd say it's rare that I've seen a vocal performance that was this good. I mean, there's excellent ones out there. Trust me, there's fantastic ones, some better than acting performances for sure. This is one of them. Absolutely. It was so good. And just to bounce off that too, all of the characters were really great. They were all very well defined, all very well acted. And I love all the allusions and the homage to the Sherlock Holmes characters. I love the fact that those characters exist in the same time. Like, they literally, are a floor below Sherlock Holmes and Watson, which is great that they exist in the same universe. But like, the dynamics and everything of Basil and Sherlock and Dawson and Watson and Moriarty and Ratigan, I think that was super cool. I liked that a lot, and that they still used a lot of the same tropes and characteristics where, Basil is very one-track minded. He just wants to solve the mystery, and he's got vices and issues with other people. And Watson is the one that's more human, and like they're almost like a requirement for each other. Like, Dawson needs Basil to be brave, to get things done, to save people. And Basil needs Dawson to be able to be more humane, to feel, to not be so cold. It's a great partnership. And they use science to figure out the clues. That was a classic Sherlock move. I really enjoyed that. And one last thing is Olivia, which we didn't talk about her as much, but God, she was one of the most adorable characters ever. Her little Scottish accent, this little girl with this Scottish accent was so cute. Especially anytime she says Toby's name, it's like, Toby. And it's like, oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah, like there's some times where kid actors, or especially like one that was probably as young as she was, like don't really hit their marks, but she did a great job and she was very convincing in everything she was saying.
Yeah. I want to get into my dislikes real quick, though. There's only one thing I want to say, and this is a little nitpicky, and this is maybe a little bit contrary to something you said, and this is about the animation. I do think the animation's good. I liked it. It looked good. There was no like mistakes or anything like that. But for a Disney product, at times the animation for the time in which this released felt older than what it was. Like a lot of it seemed more on par with Disney animation from like the 70s or 60s in some of it, because I don't know, but then you get in like the scene inside the Big Ben and the animation looks vastly different because they use that like 3D animation style. And that just seemed really strange because like you've got that 2D animation style that looked a little outdated for the time. And then that newer style that looked like it should have been in the 90s instead and might have been a little ahead of its time. So that was a weird kind of jump. But as much as I really enjoyed everything else about the film, I thought it was weird because if you compare this movie, so like after we watched this, I went and looked at clips from like Oliver and Company and The Little Mermaid, and this looks vastly older than those two movies, even though it came out in between the two of them. And I just thought that was super strange. And I don't know if it was because they animated things differently than the others. I thought maybe at least Oliver and Company might look a little bit the same, but I think Oliver and Company looked a lot cleaner, a lot crisper than this movie did. So when I first started watching it, I thought like, oh man, this must have been late 70s, early 80s or something, but it wasn't. So that just kind of surprised me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been because I think I had read this is the only like Disney animated film at least at the time that basically took place entirely at night. So they played a lot more with shadows and keeping it kind of dark. So I don't know if it's just that there weren't a lot of like bright, like saturated colors that the other movies would have had. I didn't notice like, I didn't think the animation was bad at all or anything. I guess I just wasn't comparing it to anything else. And I'm also very forgiving for a lot of these animated things. So I don't know. I guess I'd have to like rewatch it in comparison to something else, but it didn't even cross my mind, really. I was very satisfied with what I saw.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, I don't think the animation's bad at all. I was just kind of like thinking, wow, this looks way older than I thought it was. And then I was like, oh, it isn't as old as I originally thought when I started watching it. So,
I mean, Disney also may not have had much faith in it since they had just recovered or were just coming off of their failure with the Black Cauldron. So it's like maybe this was just like trying to rev back up because Little Mermaid came out 3 years later, I think. So I guess they had to work their way back up to that. I was this the point where Disney wasn't doing very well? I can't remember, but I think this was.
I really don't. I don't know
along those lines. But
I think the releases around this span of time. It was Oliver and Company, this Black Cauldron, Little Mermaid. I feel like there was one other around this time, and I don't remember which one it was. I'm not sure.
I don't remember either. Those are the big ones though, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not as grand as Little Mermaid, but I think it's charming in its own way. And it fits the attitude of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Kind of more toned down. But
sure.
As far as my dislikes go, there's not anything big, but I thought, and this is just a me thing maybe, but I really thought they were building up that Cabaret Mouse Girl to have some sort of pivotal role, or at least some kind of role in the movie. Like she was giving off like side character energy for sure with as much as they were focusing on her. But instead, she was just gone after that bar scene, didn't say a word to them or interact with them at all.
For a split second, the mouse woman that showed up at the very end of the film asking for Basil, for a split second, I thought it was her until I realized that she had a different color fur than that woman did. So then I was like, okay, no, it's not the same one. So yeah, I'm 100% right there with you. Like I thought the exact same thing. Like, okay, she's going to be something. Nope.
Yeah. The way they, like, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this movie or if you haven't seen it in a while, like, as grand as this scene was and as much focus as they were putting on her, this would be like if in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica had no other part in the film after her dance number with Eddie. Like, after that whole stage thing, like, if she was just gone after that, that's how it felt. Like, it felt like it was leading up to be something, and then she just disappeared.
I kind of thought that she was going to be Basil's or this, the mouse version of Irene Adler, which is kind of like in Sherlock Holmes, it's kind of his femme fatale / lover kind of character. So I thought when she first started, I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna use this and she's gonna become something like that. But no, like I thought maybe she would be like kind of working for Ratigan and undermining Basil, but only to extent because she has her own agenda. And in the end, she would end up helping Basil and, kind of turn on Ratigan because it suits her better to help Basil at this moment. But it's not like she like really is doing it to specifically help Basil. But nope, she's just nothing.
Right. There were all sorts of ways that they could have played out that character, but they just didn't pursue it. I don't know if that was ever the intention to, or if they had thought about it, but it just felt really weird that she didn't go anywhere else. Not that it was a huge flaw. It just felt like a kind of a missed opportunity, and I was just a little confused. But
sure.
My only other thing would be, even as catchy as that Ratigan song is, and as like fun as it is, there were no other like main characters who had songs, since the only real other one was the Mouse Girls, who, as we said, is not a main character at all. So it's not a musical in the way that a lot of Disney movies were at the time, animated Disney movies anyway. So I just don't think it fit the tone to have that there. It was a fun interlude, and it led to that, mouse being eaten by the cat. But to have this like lengthy song just kind of in the first quarter of the movie and then no other songs, it just felt like it didn't belong there.
Do you think they were just like, well, it is a Disney movie, so we've got to throw at least another song in here somewhere?
Right. Like, is that part of the deal? Like, you have to meet your song quota, and it has to be 3 songs. So they had the one and then just 2 other tiny ones. I don't know, but there's like, this is the only like animated Disney movie I can think of that doesn't have like a soundtrack attached to it. It's like, oh, I want the Great Mouse Detective soundtrack. No one says that.
But does Black Cauldron have that really though either?
I've never seen Black Cauldron. I have no idea what that has
I haven't
to offer.
either, to be honest. So I can't answer. Oh man, we just asked a question neither of us can answer. And now everyone's going to be like, you haven't seen the Black Cauldron?
Oh, you call yourself animation fans?
Oh my God. Touch grass.
It sounds like our critic has to poop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half the voices I do are people that have to poop because that's me. That's me as a real person.
Yeah. But, other than those small things, like I didn't really have anything else that bothered me about it. Like I had a lot of fun with this movie. I don't even know when the last time I had seen it. I thought I had seen it more recently, but as I was watching, I was like, oh no, I haven't seen this in either years or ever. So I wasn't quite sure. Had you ever seen this before?
No.
Okay. So this is your first time too.
I think I'd seen clips, but that was it.
Maybe that's what I had seen. Yeah. It's just strange. You don't see like Great Mouse Detective mentioned in a lot of places. It's almost like it's kind of the lesser known one, even though it was like smack dab in the middle of the 80s. It just didn't seem to get as much attention as all the others did.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a Disney film until we watched it. So
yeah, like Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under, remember those vividly. But then this one was just like, I don't know. I really honestly don't know why it was so like underappreciated, it felt like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, what would you give this movie? Did you appreciate it?
Hate it. No. I mean, overall, I think it's great, especially for people that like mysteries or are fans of Sherlock Holmes. And especially if you are a big Sherlock fan and if you want to get your kids into that kind of thing, this is like the perfect place to start. It does have some dark and kind of spooky, uncomfortable moments that we've kind of described. It's also chock full of fun and silliness, but more than anything, it's full of charm. There's a lot of charm. There's a lot of heart and just a lot of really special moments and just it's just a really good time. So I give The Great Mouse Detective 4.5 bowls of sewer rat cereal. I'm not the sewer rat out of 5.
As far as 80s Disney movies go, I, again, feel like this one just doesn't get as much attention as I think it deserves. It's action-packed, it's comedic when it needs to be, but generally sticks with its relatively serious tone, which I appreciated. And it's just unfortunate that it wasn't seen as a big enough success to garner any sequels. I don't think. I was just trying to find anything. I don't think they ever followed up with anything else, not even like straight-to-video ones. I would just have loved to have seen more grand adventures out of these tiny detectives. I think that would have been so fun, especially because Dawson even said that we had years of adventures after this, but we don't get to see any of that. And that just seems like such a missed opportunity. So overall, I'd give The Great Mouse Detective 5 big bowls of Don't Call Me a Rat cereal out of 5. And I think this one is an underappreciated classic now that I've seen it.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that I would love to see again sometime. Like I definitely would add it to the list of very rewatchable Disney films. And I know that there's plenty that people would be like, oh, they're all rewatchable. But I'd be like, no, like when are you planning to be like, oh man, I can't wait to watch Cinderella again? Like, no, I'm not going to watch that again.
I bet there's some people who are like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like for you, Joseph, are you planning to watch Cinderella again? Are you looking forward to that? No,
maybe just
you're
because
not.
I haven't seen it in so long. I don't know.
Whatever. Anyways, this is definitely like I love Aladdin. I'll watch that anytime. I love Lady and the Tramp. I'll watch that over again. This is gonna join that queue of ones that I would excitedly watch again anytime. I think it's great.
And I feel like as far as like masterful like Disney villains go, like Ratigan belongs like high up on that list after seeing him. Like I'm just surprised that I don't see him on more like top Disney villain list. I at least up there along with Scar and stuff. Like those two have a very similar tone to me. So
they would be buds.
Yeah, totally. So if he wasn't dead, but I guess like you don't see his death, so they could bring him back somehow. Maybe he falls on something.
Yeah. What Disney villain isn't dead, but we still see them all the time?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I feel like this one just seems, I don't understand personally why it wasn't pushed more than it has been. Like, why am I not seeing a fidget doll? Like, I would totally buy a fidget doll of some kind, or like an action figure. That'd be awesome.
There's no real merch for this stuff. Like, I've never seen anything. It seems like this has really been pushed under the rug, huh?
Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. And maybe I'm just like completely blind to it because like now that we've seen it and have been talking about it, I'll start seeing Great Mouse Detective stuff everywhere. And I'll be like, oh, I guess it has been around this whole time.
It's one of those things. As soon as you're aware of it, it's everywhere. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel like I'm on the Truman Show or something. And I hate that. I get super paranoid when that happens. And then I stay inside for 5 weeks. So
until the stuff's okay. They do have plushes, it looks like.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool.
And pop figures. Wow. Okay.
Dang it. You opened the floodgates and now.
I know.
Joseph.
I've made a mistake. Okay. Well, you're welcome, everyone, because I've now materialized all of this Great Mouse Detective merch that didn't exist before.
It didn't exist until you listened to this episode. Now you can go buy your pop figures.
There literally is a fidget plush.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
you willed it.
Ordering it right now.
Perfect.
So thank you, Keith, for suggesting this. This was a pleasure to watch.
Thank you so much, Keith.
Well, listeners, it looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Jeff and Some Aliens, suggested via Twitter by Toshin Ranma.
At first, I thought it was just going to be Jeff.
Jeff.
It would be kind of funny to have a cartoon just called Jeff.
Jeff. This is from the bottom of the list, folks. Going to the bottom.
Jeff and the Aliens. Never heard of it?
And some aliens.
Jeff and some aliens? Oh, not
some
the aliens. Okay.
Not the aliens, just some.
I have some ideas in my head and what it might look like, but I'm going to save that until we actually start watching it.
Perfect.
But my thoughts aren't great, but we'll see.
I have zero ideas.
Yeah. Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.